And here we are. We're live for Cache Canada Chats, and we're so glad to have joined us. And we're coming to you live from London, Westy, London Westy or Cache Canada. Well, Cache Canada headquarters. There you go. And I'm London Westy, your host, and we're waiting on our guest today, CacheShadow. He seems to be a little late, and we wanted to see who is in the chat room today. So uh, let us know who you are and where you're from, and we'll get right on it. Did you watch our show with Gio Elmo? That was a very, very nice show we had last week, introducing you to Gio Elmo, the man behind the camera. Hey, we have Cash Line on with us. Hey, Cash Line, how you doing? And Amy Mary is joining us. That's one of our patrons. Um, so, what kind of caching have you been doing, and where are you doing it? Right now, we were out today, and it was not like British Columbia whatsoever. It was snowy and cold, and we had to give up after a while because the wind just was so biting, and we just took refuge in a brewery. That's right, we went right straight to a brewery, our favorite ending to a geocaching outing. Hi, Annie, ma'am. There we go. Andre and Rooney Venables. Hello, how are you? White Cloud 65. Cool. Good to have you with us. Cache scene investigation. Did you see the video we published today with our friend Chief Scout? We went and looked at the history of oil discovery and geocaching alongside the trails to the Petrolia discovery. We thought it was a pretty cool place to go. Carol Barrett is joining us. And Carol, your coin is on the way. I put it in the envelope today. Sorry for the delay. As we went away, I wasn't able to get it to you before we left. Okay. Oh, Cache Canada is on the big screen. I'm getting this from Craig Alato. Cache Canada is on the big screen, and the Leafs and Raptors relegated to the laptop. That's awesome. Very cool. Awesome. Craig, yes, um, your coin is also on the way. It went into an envelope today, too. Cash Line says he just swapped a couch just now. No caching today. Oh, no caching today. Oh, well. Oh, that's too bad. Oh my gosh. And how is that possible? Cash Line didn't go caching on a day. Seem to think he goes every day. That's so unusual. I don't know. So I'm just going to send off a message here. Just give me a moment. So tell me a little bit about your adventures today and what you've been up to. As we said, we went on the trails today. We spent an hour doing um, one multi. Yes, usually we will not go to multis because we're not afraid of them, but um, it's just multis we get disappointed at that, and we sometimes will go to them and they won't work out. So so we tend to ignore them. But today I said no, we're going to start on a multi, and it was very, very cool. We did we did it was 3 stages. We almost gave up on the second stage. We needed to find a rock at the base of a tree, but Sparky 500 persisted, and he found this little stone, this little tiny stone, sticking up out of the snow, and kicked the stowaway to reveal um, a rock, and the rock had words on it that we needed. So that was all working out. Geocacher Ken had no adventures today. Oh, it was a gym day. I'll go out tomorrow. Cool. That's awesome. Tomorrow is my off day. I'm just going to hang about. I've got some work to do with my mom. And BKN 643 says later tonight, grab caches in order to reach the peak Everest this month. Awesome. At night, in the snow, in the cold. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's just amazing. Andy Plant says, reached the peak on 2/22/22, so today was a day off. Good for you. You always have to have a day off because geocaching is such work. It is such work. You know, when you're doing a streak, it seems like it feels like it becomes a job, and that's why I finished, and I couldn't wait to finish. I did my streak at 555 days, and that was certainly long enough. Carol says, leaving tomorrow for a 5-day caching trip. Oh, awesome. Road trips are so exciting. Doing the various Schitt's Creek Adventures labs in Stouffville and Goodwood. Awesome. That's really cool. That is one show I missed watching, and I know it's almost like it's a Canadian cult classics already, like Corner Gas. I have not watched Schitt's Creek, and it's on Netflix, so I think I'm going to have to catch up. Warm in Winterpeg today. I bet you warm was what, -15, -20. Found one of Geocacher Ken's caches. Awesome. There you go, Ken. I hope you were reading your logs. Oh my God, you got to watch it. Eugene Levy is on that. I don't know why I didn't watch it. So yes, I will. We'll look at that. We were just having dinner tonight. We were discussing TV shows to watch, and Karen said the one we were watching, it was some zombie show, Dark Summer. Not a lot was happening, and she wanted to watch something else. So we started watching a Different Life. I think it's a space show with Katie Sackhoff. So yeah, 555 days. You're 6 days shy of 366. Keep going. Keep going. Don't stop. That was my original goal, was 365. Oh, actually, my original goal was to do the month of December and just get the whole month done. And then I met a geocacher in the field at a First to Find, and he asked if I was doing the Ironman. And I said, what do you mean? What Ironman? What are you talking about? And he said, well, the Ironman, you're like doing a whole year. And I'm like, a whole year? I was just talking about December. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. So excuse me, I have a dog below me. Come on, Blake, move. He's got this cone on his head because he has a sore eye. He's getting in my way. So I completed December, and I thought I'd give it a shot. So I did January, February, and I thought, well, I'm 2 months into it. I may as well just keep going. And then 3 months turned into 6 months. Went through the summer, and I said, well, I went through one winter. Can't be that bad. So I thought I'd go to the end of 365, which would bring me to the beginning of December. So that was the whole year. And then I thought, sure as shoot, there's going to be a challenge out there that asks for an entire, not just 365, but an entire calendar year of caching. So January to January. So I thought, well, I better keep going through December. And then I made it to the January 1st the next year. And then I thought, well, I may as well just keep going, because there was a woman, CC Cash. She was about 40 days ahead of me. She had started, and she was going. And I found out she was afraid to stop because she didn't want me to catch up to her. So it's in one of our very, very earliest videos. We pinky swore on. I said I would not go past her if she would stop. And she says she would stop the next day, or next Tuesday or something. And I said, well, what would that be? And she said 552. And I said, well, that's dumb. I said, keep going until what, Friday, and do 555. So that's what she did. She ended at 555, and I ended at 555 40 days later, and I could not wait to stop. And she was waiting for me to stop, and she couldn't stand it anymore. So there you go. -8 today. Oh, that's not too bad. I think we had -5 for most of the day. That's pretty cool. All right. So anyway, there we go. That's our story about geocaching. 555, and I have a challenge cache out in London, Ontario, to do that. So has anybody checked out the latest version of the Adventure Lab? I want to do a show on this because they have some really cool updates. And I'm just going to bring up the Adventure Lab so I can talk about what they're doing. One thing, I didn't notice this until somebody said it, but on the top right is the filtering system. So just like if you pull up the geocaching app, the actual genuine geocaching app, you can see what Geocaching Headquarters is doing. They're making the two apps, the geocaching app and the Adventure Lab app, very similar to each other. So they have the same look. So on the top right, You have 3 bars on the top right, and that will give you a scroll list of adventures to find. And that's an easy way to find an adventure when you're in an area that has, say, a flood of of adventures, and you're trying to explain to somebody which adventure you're on. And this, then Karen and I do this all the time. Oh, which one are you on? And you pull up the map, and you might see like 15. So it's hard to get to 15 different. Find the one that you want when you're looking at the map, touching all the little buttons. But if you go up to the top right in the 3 bars, you touch that, and then you can just scroll down and you just tell them the name. We're at Pop Goes the Weasel, and they just keep scrolling. Oh, there it is right there. And it's an easy way to do it. And right next to that, to the left, is filtering. So it's in exactly the same location as filtering is on the geocaching app. So I kind of really like that. And the filtering allows you to filter out completed, in progress, or not started caches or adventure labs. Anything new within the last 30 days. So if you're in an area that you've done a lot, but you want to see just new ones, you can just show that. And also and estimated time. So something that, yeah, I just want a quick adventure lab, or, hey, I would really want to dive right in. I want to take some that takes a long time. What we did in Victoria was I used it to isolate the ones that were in progress, because we were doing multiple ones at the same time. One of our last days, I just wanted to get completed the ones we had already started. Because for me, if I started an adventure lab, I want to finish it. I don't just want to do one. But Karen is like, oh, I just want to get one smile here and one smile there. It doesn't matter. I'm going to bring a guest on right now. It's not the guest we were expecting, because I think he kind of got busy. And so we're going to have a different guest on today. I would like you to welcome Cache the Line. How are you?
Hello. How are you? I'm good.
You're good. Awesome. I love the sound.
Hello.
We're bringing on the Bruce Zero right now because our guest, CacheShadow, is missing. He's probably reviewing. He's probably just so involved. We can't find him. Yeah. So, right. What is the saying, Jeff? The show must go on.
Must go on.
So I thought, well, Jeff said he was just throwing himself on the couch, and I thought, well, he's not busy. He hasn't cashed today, so he's not all pooped out. Maybe he wanted to take a nap watching Cache Canada. I don't know.
I was just about to start watching a show, and then I remembered that you were on.
Ah, awesome. Very cool. Thanks for joining us. So, what's up? What's new? What's going
on? Today, I just swapped my old couch for a new one. Care of the better half.
Nice. Very, very nice. Is this, okay. So it came from her, not from the store.
Yeah. A friend of hers.
Oh, okay.
Connections.
Yes. That's awesome. A new couch. And how does it feel? Does it feel like it's going to be good for resting?
My old one I had in the house since I moved in 22 years ago. And it's probably at least a couple of decades older than that. So it's been around, but it's sturdy. This new one it feels better. It's a little taller on the seat and all that stuff. So, it's a trade-off. You lose the memories for higher quality.
But can you lay out on it completely?
It is long enough to lay out. Yes, that was my one big concern.
Yep. That's the one thing. Whenever we go couch shopping, not that we do that often, we have done it a couple of times in our marriage. It's the thing I lay down and I think, yep, this is okay. We're good. It's got to be snoozable. Yeah, especially when my father-in-law was around, it was a concern, as after dinner, the father-in-law needs to have his nap. Yeah. So anyway,
Ken made the good point there.
Yeah, you're off to a good
no
start.
knocking over with the microphone this time.
So, what has your caching been like lately? What have you been up to?
Focusing on completing my year date found grid for challenge caches. And I am now 2 weeks out of finally completing that.
Wow.
It's an hour drive to get to the nearest challenge cache for me that I qualify for, so it'll be good once that's done.
How do you find that grid?
It's on Project GC on your profile. There's a challenges tab, and then it just gives you the date found grid for the year.
But that's just challenge caches.
Just challenge caches.
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I only just started doing that last year because somebody had mentioned, it's a feature on Project GC now. took a look and like, I wonder if there could be a challenge for this in the future.
And okay, was that on? I haven't checked in lately. Was that on your show for Geocache Talk?
We've mentioned it on Challenge Talk, but I think I spotted it in one of the Facebook groups for statistics.
Yeah, nice.
Like,
today we were doing a multi, and I remember to look up Project GC, the grid for multis, to see, is this one that I need for my multi grid? And no, it wasn't. I already had 23 of that, but it was a 3-3. So we are actively looking at those now when we travel. The 6 different grids. I will consult the map, and I'll look at where it goes, which I don't really like that much. I had trouble with where it goes in Victoria. Let me see, the multi, the other ones we don't have.
Yeah,
we have the traditional. We have the mystery.
common. Yeah, the common types are easy. There's a lot of challenges for completing fizzy grids of all the common ones. Traditional, multi, mystery, letterbox. I think that's
it's Earth Cache.
Yeah,
virtual.
Earth Cache is a rare one.
Yeah, and virtual, which would be extremely difficult. It is possible.
Yeah.
But you would have to go to Europe as of right now in order to get some of the squares.
Yeah. And at least the nice thing is with those Earth Caches and virtuals, there's more Earth Caches being published than virtuals, but if somebody wants to help make it easier, they can look for the rare DTs and then try to fill in some of those gaps for people.
Like you and I did when you did your virtual. You looked at a rating that was needed, and so did I, the one that could have been used. So... so Carol says, I'm scared of looking at the challenges just so she knows she'd probably get hooked. You're probably right. You probably would be. Cache the line, nice black cap. Oh, is that why you're looking for here we're going to go with the top hat now.
Better one.
So that's a CacheShadow hat. There you go. That's a spy hat.
Doesn't quite work. It's a little small.
You need to cut holes in the brim to get your headphones up through.
But this is more like the style of that hacker design. If you were to Google hackers, you'd find this hat, but not the right size.
So we're welcoming any questions the audience has. It's not CacheShadow time. He unfortunately is otherwise occupied. That's what we'll say.
He's probably archiving caches.
Yes, a couple of mine probably. So anyway, we'll start off with a question. And hold on. You can win a Geo Woodstock trackable with the trivia at the end of the show, and we don't know when the show will end. It will end when it ends, and if you're there, you can answer the question. And I have 2 questions provided by Jay Kennedy, otherwise known as Land Monkey. And one of them I did not know the answer to at all. And I would assume you should be able to find it on Google, because Google is your friend. But I don't know that for sure. So we're going to throw out... let's go over here to the comments. Wet Coaster said we had a little snow after you left, but it's gone now where I am. Awesome. Well, we took it with us. We have the snow now. So here we go. This is a question people can answer. An event Cache pages may mention the name of the event location, example, the restaurant name, in a descriptive text of the cache page, but may not be in the what? What can it not be in? There you go. That's the question for today. But that's the question right now. It cannot be in something. I didn't know, for the longest time, I didn't know that you could put the place that you're at. Let's say you go to a Tim Hortons, that you could say that your event was at a Tim Hortons. I didn't know that. I thought for a while.
Yeah, if there's any hint that you're promoting doing something with the business at all.
Correct.
You can say like directions, or this is here, or this is where we're at. That's as far as it goes.
Yeah. So yes, we have the answer right away from multiple people. Geocacher Ken says in the title, and Cache Scene Investigation says the title. Wet Coaster in the title of the listing. That is correct. And the event name cannot be in the title, in the cache name. That's correct. Awesome. Very cool. So we got a correct answer to that. If anybody knows another question. If you have another question, let us know. I have a few. Written down. And then we have the questions for the win a geocaching Woodstock 18 trackable, which brings to the question. There's a question right there. Is Cache the Line going to Geo Woodstock 18?
That's the plan.
There we go. Awesome. I believe you've already booked some things. So
Flight is booked.
flight is booked. Awesome. Gotta love flights booked. Yes.
Took advantage of the little deal that you had given me a nudge for, which was
Hey,
a nice
there
little
we
touch.
go. Awesome. And did you get a good deal?
$260 Canadian for the round trip with
Oh,
one
that's-
carry-on bag
That's awesome. And that's all you need.
for one person.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's cool. That's a really good deal.
Mm.
Yeah, we've booked our flights. We have multiple flights going. We're doing a bunch of one-way flights to take advantage of the deal, and we're flying with Lynx. It's a new airline out of Calgary. I think they're based in Calgary. So now we need to book rental cars, and we need to talk about accommodations. Where you plan to go? Maybe we could, put up a couple of days together. I know geocachers. Hailmeister is interested in sharing some place in Seattle. I tend to move around a little bit, like here and there, and sometimes, of course, if we had our van, we'd be sleeping in the van. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, but I would also look towards getting a vehicle rental that is large enough to sleep a person.
snooze.
I'm sure
Yeah.
on the road I'll be sleeping in the car to save a whole lot of money.
yeah, it does help.
Yeah, but for 2
okay,
weeks, gonna have to have a Airbnb or something like that a few times at least.
There is a warning, and this, of course, is going to change from wet coaster warning. Gas is $1.80 a liter or more in the lower mainland now. When we were in Victoria, the city had $1.65, and up towards Nanaimo was $1.75 a liter. And I'm sure anywhere you're going to go now, it's going to be up. I'm concerned. There's nothing there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going. Right. You just deal with it. It's just the way it is.
Carpooling as much as possible to help save.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to the original stash together. There you go. Yeah. We'll call it cool. 8 hours.
Yeah. I've got to get to the Ape Cache too.
Yes.
But we're hovering around 160 right now for gas right here per liter.
Yeah, in London, Kitchener too. So what a deal on airline. Andy Plant says yes. So the Ape Cache, if anybody doesn't know, normally they have an event for the Ape Cache at the time that Geo Woodstock was going on, but they have decided to move it into September because they are worried about lots of numbers. That's just their concern for that event. Yeah. It's good apparently, but not with huge numbers.
I think it's just because the tunnel itself can get pretty crowded. But when I have done the Ape Cache before, but while it was in that interim stage without the icon, but it was for the 8 Mega at the time, and so I don't recall the tunnel being super duper crowded. It was reasonable. But,
so you got the cache, but not the icon.
Yeah, it was just a traditional icon at that time.
Oh, okay. So now if you get the cache, you get the icon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You don't need.
Well, I think it's a different listing. They didn't change the type. They just brought back the original listing. Because what happened was the Ape Cache was lost, and then they created relisted a traditional as a replacement for it, so people could find that. But then the original Ape Cache was found, so they brought that back, and then reinstigated the original listing with the ape icon.
Right. Okay. So now you need to find it again.
Yeah.
Well, not find it. Apparently it's not hard to find.
It's not hard to find, but it's a great experience. It's definitely worthwhile. Worth doing.
I'm looking forward to seeing your version of the tunnel. what you're going to do with the tunnel? A mile and a half of black. Yeah, it can't be that bad. It's just turn the flashlight off. Oh my God, I can't see anything.
Yeah. There's lots of people with flashlights. There's people biking through there as well. So you always have to watch out for traffic. Keep to the right and the left, keep to your side.
Yep. So Just Joey asked a question. What differences did you find between caching in Ontario and caching in BC? And hello. Well, I tell you, there was no snow. You could have found a geocache hidden in the bark of a palm tree. they have palm trees in southern BC, in Vancouver too, apparently. I haven't been there yet. This is now the furthest west I have ever cached is uh, Sook, Sook, BC, I think is the furthest west. Um, the geocaching was fairly similar. I didn't find it much different, except there was no snow at all, so that was cool. Okay, our guest, our first guest, might actually be with us at some point because he's currently in BC, so he has his alarm set for BC time. So that would be 3 hours from now when I'm done and on my way to. I'm having an MRI tonight at 2 in the morning. So there you go. Okay. Okay. When it comes to caching, I don't care about the gas prices. There we go. Awesome. Oh, there you go. Here's a good. Fill it up south of the border where it'll be $5 a gallon. Okay. I haven't looked at anything in Geo Woodstock yet, but hope to make it out. Awesome. That would be cool.
Like I similarly, I've got the flight booked, but I haven't started planning all the stuff for that week. It's still a few months out, so
yeah.
When it gets closer, then the rental, all the accommodations, all the event planning, day-to-day stuff is gonna really start to come.
I've started thinking about the rental car. I just want to get that out of the way. I don't want to arrive at the airport and find out there's nothing left. I still need to. We're going back to BC in April to Kelowna, and I haven't even booked that rental car yet. So I've got to get on that. What's the longitude out there? Oh, good question. What is the longitude? I'm at 103, I think. Something like that. Well, yes, we were just doing that. And yeah, so what else do you have planned? Anything coming up? Cache line wise.
That's a good question. What is coming up? I've got we can finally do indoor events in Ontario come March 1st.
Yes.
So I have a breakfast planned for next Saturday morning. Yay!
Oh, next Saturday? I was looking at that. I'm going to talk to Karen. Is that I think we went there once to a place, and it was your birthday thing or something.
Yeah, that would have been a bowling.
Was that the place?
I think that was Boston Pizza.
Oh no, okay. No, there was another
this
place
breakfast
we went.
is.
It was a long table in a.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the same place. Okay.
Oh no, that would have been Mongolian Grill.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the one.
All right.
No, because that's the one where you go in there making all the doing it all in front of you.
I don't remember. Anyway, I remember having breakfast. That's all. I suppose probably the same price. I'll let you know. Yeah, I'm going to talk to Karen about going to that. Okay, I have another question. Okay, hang on. Boom. Okay, here we go. Is it possible to request a cache listing be published on a specific date? Yes or no? Is that possible? You never know, because sometimes you never know. You might need that. North 49, West 123.
I was just looking at the same thing. 128 on the far end and 119 on the east. Yep.
Where is breakfast? Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Angels Diner in Waterloo. Last event.
Yes.
Hell broke loose. Oh, that was the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. Is that what everybody's saying? Yes, it is. And the answer would be yes. It is possible. Can you request a specific time on a date? There's a subset of that question. Can you ask for a specific time?
I'm going to say I believe they have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Because we have had caches published specific, but I can't remember if they have it automated or if they have to sit there and watch and be like, go.
Yeah, I have our CacheShadow is on the line, on another line, and he says it depends on how big the bribe is. Okay, I'm going to bring our guest on. Please, Jeff, stay with us because it could be an interesting conversation. So you can
for sure
you can join, if you don't mind. That would be
any
awesome.
chance to chat with the CacheShadow.
Oh, awesome! Tell him to come on in if you can. He was out, yeah, so he just got home. So when he comes on, if he's there he is. Sorry, he's already there. My camera was covering him. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm very good. Just
Hey-o.
been hanging out backstage. If someone told me Jeff was here, I would have dashed home.
Hey, I got to see Cash Drone on Family Day this week
Oh.
as well. He was around.
He's still out there.
He's still around, yeah.
That's good to know.
CacheShadow. Wow. Yeah. Well, he sent me a message the other day and asked me a question. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? Where's this coming from? What are you doing? What do you need?
I
It was fun
remember
to
him.
talk to him. So, how is it 3 hours ago?
It's fantastic. So I'm in Victoria at the moment. So
Yes.
I dashed out to do work, extra work. Tomorrow morning, be at the airport 4:02 a.m. Ready to fly back. So it's a dash turnaround trip. So everything is dash today. So
Yep.
not too much fun is being had, but I did grab my Adventure Labs and get my souvenirs topped up. So
Excellent.
good to go.
What
I love
Adventure
that.
Labs did you do? Anything I did?
Perhaps I haven't stalked you. So I did the two
I-
here in the Spy Malt. I did one at Gulfstream and the one along the Bird Sanctuary. So narrowed those ones down.
Probably. We did quite a few. Karen tells us we did about 180 geocaches. So that includes all Adventure Labs in our week. And we were pretty selective. So,
It's all a
and
blur.
that, yeah, it's all it is. It was such an awesome week. We just didn't have enough time. I tell you, Victoria and lower the mainland, or the lower Vancouver Island, is incredible.
Yep.
And I had thought of my original plan for Geo Woodstock was to go to Vancouver and take the ferry to Victoria, get a hotel, geocache for the day, stay in the hotel, and go back. That's not enough time.
No, it's a whole other world here, and
Yeah.
British Columbia in general. I've always loved coming out here, but
Yep.
just going from within town, a few steps away, to these great unexplored spaces, at least for me, just bouncing and travel helps with the caching. So
Nice. Yeah. Well, the only thing I was really after was the webcam. I mean, that was my
Ah.
one major target.
Yep.
I had the webcam and life would be good. But I needed to, well, I don't, as it turns out now, I don't really need to, but I thought I needed to chew up vacation time. So I was pulling vacation time out of May and I just kind of threw it in February and I just wanted to go somewhere. And that was the only thing we could come up with that we both agreed to. It was like, okay, where is the warmest place I could go in Canada in February? And obviously Whitehorse and Newfoundland is not in the cards.
Yeah.
So, and I was amazed. I was blown away.
I love it out here. Floaty boats and mountains.
Yeah.
Can't
Nice.
beat it. You had a
Seeing
question about
videos come
time.
out.
Yes, question about time publishing.
Mhm.
I noticed that one there.
Where's
My comment was accurate.
oh yes,
It's
a bribe.
absolute- Yes, totally.
Yes.
So it's
I
not
noticed
automated.
in the Wikipedia for Wiki for Ontario. That's where I got the answer to the question was yes, you can ask for specific time, and yes, it could be done, but it's not guaranteed
Yep.
because
If you
you don't
say-
know where you're going to be.
If you say it's 15 minutes past 6 on Tuesday, you might get it 6. You might get it 6:30. You might get it 7. It's the best effort. It's the expectation sometimes is that you put something in the queue, it's going to get handled immediately. Or
Yeah.
other times, if we put it in with enough notice, we want it exactly at this day and time. But
Mhm.
it's still effort, even though is a process for some automation. It's definitely not down to the minute. So if you say I like it in the morning or the afternoon, that's a much better range. Normally, a reviewer can work towards the time slot you've chosen, but there have
Mhm.
been people saying, "Can I have one released every minute for 60 minutes?" Not so much.
Have you looked into or asked if HQ would be able to build in that ability to set things to publish at specific times?
I think there have been questions asking for reviewers to effectively say it's good to go, lock it, pass it back to the player, and the player can publish it when they want. That is something that people have suggested instead of that in the past.
Oh, yeah, that
But
would be
that's-
cool.
But that would obviously be a lot of development. It might be catering to a very small number of people initially. I'm not sure how they weigh up their priorities, but that
Yep.
is a way of solving it. Is you have your reviewer basically say yes, it's guidelines compliant, and then put the onus back on the player. But it also raises questions: is what if they sit on it forever? How long can they sit on it? What's going to happen if they block other spots? So it swings and roundabouts. But that
Give it
definitely
like
would
an
be
approval window. So
Yeah.
the reviewer says this is good to go, locked for a week.
yeah.
And you've got to
So
publish
put
it
that
within
as
a week.
item number 458,000 on the wouldn't it be nice to list.
Yeah, you're so busy, especially when Cash Drone just kind of leaves you hanging, doesn't help out.
Well, he's been doing most of the items of them recently. We'll, in Ontario at least, we take turns, we share the queue. Some regions do it different days. Some regions take a particular point and they do from there. East is one reviewer, from there, west is another. So your mileage may vary depending on the market that you're playing in.
Here's a question from BK649, BK73. If one reviewer starts the action of reviewing, can another reviewer publish the cache?
That's a question to all. It's effectively, it can be done. Most regions have their own approach. In Ontario, we have a whoever starts review ends the review in 99.99% of cases. In other regions, they might work in a way that whoever hops in the queue, if they see a cache have been actioned by a reviewer in the team previously, it's gone back in the queue, then maybe they'll pick it up and run with it. So it depends on where you are, but in Ontario, you certainly, the reviewer that starts your review typically ends your review.
Mhm.
It's easier because you have that continuity.
Yep.
At the same time, it also helps promote folks to make sure they use their reviewer notes to put the details inside the cache page. That means that if somebody else wants to have an opinion, because there are times where reviewers aren't sure, they'll go to their peers and they'll say, something about this is kind of tweaking, but I really want to publish it. Can you see anything else wrong with it? So having those notes from the other players, you might have 2 or 3 reviewers looking at your cache page, but there may typically only be the one who started the review will hit the green button, at least in Ontario.
Geraldine Berry wants to know, where will you be traveling to next and when? You don't have to answer specifically when, or where will you be traveling to for geocaching?
I am going to Barcelona in May.
Oh, nice. Very, very nice. I bet you the weather will be beautiful then.
It'll be better than it is here and there.
Well, yeah, we're going to Kelowna again in April. So there you go. Back to BC. May as well just move there. We just keep flying over there. And we're going to BC in August. Imagine that. Wow. Any plans for travel, Jeff? I think you're looking at Memphis, but that's July.
Yeah. Yes. So we've got July and August, 2-week trips for 4 events.
Wow. 2 weeks to Memphis?
Wow. Going down to Memphis and then back for Cache Fest and then coming up for Midwest Geobash.
Midwest Geobash, yep. Nice.
They're a week apart.
Cache Fest. Oh, no, sorry. It's for Cache Fest and then Midwest. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Can you request a specific reviewer to review your cache?
If you have a reviewer who's handling the series, you can say, the reviewer X, Y, or Z is handling my series. Can we keep going, please? Because again, you have continuity. But typically, when it's in the queue, it's available to anybody. It helps because let's say for a moment that you have a reviewer who may not have had enough caffeine one particular day, and they may have oopsed, because it happens, and you're like, great, I got that by them. Let me choose them and see if I can do that again. Wouldn't necessarily be a great thing for the reviewer, for anybody else. So usually you can put a note in saying your preference, you're working with something, or you've already discussed it. It shouldn't be an issue. But if you typically shouldn't be avoiding anybody, and that works both ways. Because on this side of the fence.
And Kay says, "Wow, you guys have a lot of vacation time." Yeah, I do. Yes, I've been employed where I am for 33 years, so I've built up a lot.
Yes, I'm working remotely, which is one of the benefits of my IT world.
And I'm at a point in my life where I don't really, everything's paid for. So I've already informed my boss, if I'm not retired by July 1st, I will not be in the plant working for the month of August. And yeah, I'm either on vacation, leave of absence, or no pay. I don't care. I'm just not going to be there. And she said, okay.
Yep.
Quick follow up for that other one about reviewers having different types. I think Cash Drone focuses on the challenge caches, right? Like, have you kind of decided who
No,
does what certain things?
it's typically is luck of the draw,
Hmm.
and there might be times where if you reviewed a few challenge caches that week, your brain's kind of tuned to it, so you might hop in the queue and say, "Oh, there's a couple more. I'll just grab those and I'll get to them." But at the same time, each one of us might have reviewed a lot of challenge caches, and they're not easy to review in most situations. And go, "Okay, I'm kind of burnt out. Can you just take them for a week or two?"
Mhm.
So the work is shared between the reviewers within the queue, which is the same time we typically are faster than the 7-day turnaround in Ontario. Not always, but typically we are, because we are
Yeah.
sharing a load and we support each other. But there are regions where they may only have one reviewer. That reviewer might want to, take a couple of days break between hitting the queue. So it's typically done in a shared fashion, at least in Ontario, across the board for all cache types. But then again, there are things that's fun to do. So when we first started seeing virtual rewards appearing, it's like, oh, can I do the next one? Can I do the next one? So again,
Glutton
we
for
all,
punishment, you are.
yeah, we share things amongst us.
Very nice. When you review a puzzle cache, do you have to solve it, or is the solution provided by the CO?
The guidelines ask that a solution be included by the cache owner when a reviewer note at time of review.
Mm-hmm.
And a reviewer does not necessarily have to solve it. They may wish to, they might find it interesting, because sometimes it's like, something doesn't look quite right. We know what was happening there. We might choose to check a little further, but that isn't necessarily, I'd say, part of the review. And there's other times where you look at something and say, how okay, the leap from point A to point B. It's kind of a guess what I'm thinking situation. Let me try this out. And there are times where you can create a puzzle and in your mind there's a perfect step from, okay, I've given them 2 green squares, and there was this 1963 movie called The Green Squares, and the person who got the Oscar for that lived in Albuquerque. So Albuquerque is the magic word.
Mm.
Yeah. And so those guess what I'm thinking puzzles, we might sometimes look at the description provided, pace it through and say, yeah, we're kind of missing a leap here.
Yeah.
But typically, most things, it's very rare you come across something you haven't seen a flavor of before after having done this a bit. And
Mhm.
that's why HQ asked that the information be provided in a reviewer note at time of review.
And it didn't always used to be like that, because
Correct.
it used to be that puzzle caches could be published, but the reviewers had no idea if there was a solution or where the solution was.
Yeah.
And I remember some of those old ones had still been around for a while and nobody had found them.
And sometimes I think things are implemented because some part of the world um, may have encountered something multiple times and they needed to maybe put some brakes on, or maybe put some lines for people to travel down. And so if you have a lot of people in a region, for example, who can't find a cache unless they contact the cache owner, like, okay, well, maybe we should get that cache owner to put some notes in to explain how you get to the solution. And if
Mhm.
that really helped that region out, they might have said, oh, you know what, we should try this, guys. You should try this. Ask your players if they can put in reviewer notes. And
Yep.
it makes the review faster, and it also a lot of the times helps for us to nudge and say, oh, maybe you missed this thing, or maybe are you quite sure, because I'm looking
Yep.
at where you say your final coordinates are, and all the numbers in your puzzle are less than 5 and everything in your solution is more than 8.
Yep.
So yeah, it has improved, and it doesn't affect anything because reviewers aren't out there getting first defines typically anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So
And I think I remember a comment as well that it's not like you want the answers so that you can make sure the puzzle is necessarily doable. It's really just more that for proximity stuff and knowing that there is a physical cache and where it is. It's like
yeah,
there's no judgment about the puzzle itself.
Mhm.
no,
Just make sure there's a
Yeah.
solution and
no,
the physical stuff.
there we all have our interpretations of what not epic might be. Some people may use the word lame for that. So if you have a lame puzzle, it's still a puzzle. It still is giving someone a chance. Maybe that's somebody's first puzzle cache that they've solved. They've worked out, hey, That's what the solution is. I can work that out. It might have been a piece of cake, but it might have been their first experience with the puzzle cache.
Yeah.
Well, having that extra note in there might help the reviewer put it back on the right track to get somebody to get that first find. So every little information nugget helps.
Yep. From Wet Coaster, will reviewers ever get involved with Adventure Labs, not counting the bonus caches? Is there any discussion on that?
There hasn't, to my knowledge, been any, and I wouldn't personally expect there to be any. It's a different system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the same time, when you create an adventure lab, you can edit things on the fly. No one looked at it initially. No one's looking at it. They're making sure you're following the guidelines. You're clicking the checkbox saying that you do, and off it goes.
Yeah.
And it's a different experience for players, and therefore that review interaction, as there are no physical placements with adventure labs, at least there aren't now.
Mm-hmm.
It does make sense for a review to be involved, but to the point there, yeah, bonus caches, those are physical. Effectively, they're kind of like puzzles, right?
Yeah.
But the solution is finishing the adventure lab.
Mhm.
So yes, reviewers would be involved because it's physical.
Very cool. So a lot of people might be aware of course, the Lincoln Highway, Route 66, and the number 1 Highway Adventure Lab series, and also the Erie Canal. But Canada is doing the TCHALs, the Trans-Canada Highway Adventure Lab series. How many TCHALs caches have you each, or Adventure Labs
Tickles.
have you each done? Tickles.
Tickles.
That's Tickles. That's a new one. Jeff, have you done any? Have you done any? I
Not
know.
yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Been up and down the road couple of times over the last year or two, but no adventure labs.
Not yet. CacheShadow, have you done any of the Trans-Canada
Nope.
Highway? None.
Not on my radar at this point.
We did all 4 on Vancouver Island that are currently there. We have done 3 or maybe half a dozen of the Ontario ones so far. So it's on our radar. When we do go places, I will try to target them if they're within range, just to check them out. Because I do. Oh, I'm a reviewer. Oh my gosh. I do review the Ontario labs for the Highway 17 and 417. Juice Pig is the other reviewer now. Dougie B has decided to take a break, but Juice Pig does all other highways of Ontario for the TCHALs series. But we do take a look at them to make sure, just basically, there's no spelling mistakes, there's no grammatical errors. Do the sites make sense? Does it lend itself well to Trans-Canada Highway? That kind of thing, and make sure it fits. It has the title picture is exactly the same. The initial verbiage is the same, because we want to carry across a flavor across the whole thing. So it's one series. So
Branding matters.
It does, yes.
Well, I know if I get a road trip out to Nova Scotia at some point, then there will probably be a few adventure labs along that.
There are quite a few Trans-Canada Highway labs in Nova Scotia now.
Although I would probably focus on the ones with bonus caches, because I vastly prefer finding geocaches.
Yes. Do you recommend a D level for puzzle caches if you don't think it's appropriate? I'm not sure.
Do you recommend a different difficulty rating?
Oh,
okay.
So
during review, this is one of those where your mileage may vary. So if I am personally reviewing something and I'm looking at it, there have been many times where I've said, are you sure your difficulty rating or even your terrain rating is accurate? Like, are you sure? Because there are many times people will create a cache page, they'll go through everything, they'll do their puzzle, they'll change the puzzle, they might even relocate their cache, but they forget to update the difficulty and terrain. So there are other times when folks think, oh, I'm the first person to ever put a jigsaw puzzle on my cache page. Well,
yeah.
Okay, you might not be. So personally, I'll say, hey, just double checking. Are you sure your difficulty rating is accurate? There's 10 other puzzle caches around you which are the same kind of concept and much lower. I'm not sure. You're the cache owner. Here's a link to the rating system. I'll pass it back to you. And I would say 95 times out of 100, someone goes, yeah, you're right, and they'll drop something. Maybe 4 times they'll say, nope, it's good, it's what I want. And maybe 1 time out of 100, they'll be really upset that I would even dare to question them. It's meant as helping and coaching, because there are so many people have said, oh, you're right, because the higher D&T, it might actually put people off sometimes from even attempting it. But the flip side also kicks in, is that there are times where folks might place a cache on an island, and they'll rate it of terrain 1.5, because they're thinking once they got to the island, from where they docked their boat, walking to the cache was nice and flat. They'll say, well, hold on a second. If you need a boat to get there, bearing in mind that might be seasonal, so another kettle of fish gets brought up. Are you sure that that's the right rating? Do you have the boat attribute? Yeah, typically it's an automatic 5. So it's not that a review will get denied, I would say. Most of the time, there's always exceptions because of incorrect DT. But your reviewer, if they say, hey, if they're giving you that extra chance to go back and double check it's that what you wanted is what the community would expect. So if there's a puzzle, I'm looking at it and it's crazy difficult just by the description. And you can normally tell just by the length of the description how hard the puzzle is going to be. And it's a D2, you might say, well, you might want to increase that difficulty in terrain rating. But the flip also applies, where people might say it's a D5 and it's scanning through the web page and looking for the HTML that's just been putting white text. It's like, did you mean to do that? So it's meant as a coaching thing, and it's burning the reviewer's time to try and make sure that the cache owner's cache makes the best impression. And it's much easier for a reviewer to just not care and hit a button. So if they're willing to take the time to double check with you, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's what there was a cache that my son and I found that was listed in 2015, and we didn't find it until 2020. So it was 5 years lonely, unfound, and it was a low rating, and that's what the CO was amazed that nobody had gone after it, but it was on an island in the edge of Lake Huron, Georgian Bay. The rating was only a 2.5, 2. So I said, basically, the rating might be putting people off. They go, I don't want to go all that way for low rating. It really should have been a 5, and I think we couldn't find it initially. We needed hints from the CO of what we were looking for, and it was a 2.5. It probably should have been a 3.5 to 4, 5, and that more people probably would have gone through it a lot sooner than the 5 years that it took us to go get the first to find.
Yeah. And D&T is so subjective too, right? If you're someone like a mutual friend of ours who's 8'90", he can walk up to a tree cache and just grab it, pluck it out, and to him it's a 1. Whereas I'm sitting there dragging up climbing materials and it's more than a 1. So a lot of it depends on who is placing it and who is finding it. So you can never find the exact number,
right?
But you can often look at something and say, it doesn't look like it's close.
But we just found one that was under a bridge going across a creek, and I had to climb in the snow and the frozen water to get it, and it was a 1.5, or a 1.1. And I'm like, but that was a 2001 cache. So early on, when they didn't really know yet, guessing. So today that wouldn't be that rating. That rating would be a lot higher. But A&K asks, I remember one of the reviewers saying that our Highway 17 virtual initially had some issues that had to be brought up with HQ. Do you remember what that was?
Not specific to that cache, but I can give you an example based on it. So Highway 17 obviously is a great distance to find, and it's a mission. It's a commitment for people to finish it, and that's why it gets such great responses. But at the same time, folks are sometimes put off by, well, I started it and then I realized, hold on a second, stage 2 is all the way over there. It's very similar to people are sometimes off put by sequential adventure labs. Well, I think it's one of the reasons why the mobile app now shows whether sequential or not. People can make the assessment if they want to make the commitment. And so the same way as multi-caches, those have become complicated over the years about great distances between stages. And it's a little strange, isn't it, that you have a puzzle cache where your post-it and your file need to be 3.2 kilometers apart, but multi-caches don't have that restriction.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's all these different, okay, well, how do we handle this? And because you realize, well, you don't necessarily want to do something that's going to cause grief for anybody, least of all the cache owner or the players. And
Mhm.
sometimes you just double check and saying, hey, everybody, there's to do this, you've got to travel X many hundreds of kilometers.
Yep.
Sometimes it can just be a litmus check just to get other people's opinions on whether they think that you would be clicking on something you're going to have to justify afterwards.
Mhm.
So not to that specific cache, but just in general, there are things where they might be great ideas, and that is why reviewers often say, hold on a second, we're going to check this out with our peers, or we're going to check back with HQ. And there are even times when you'll get a reviewer note, in Ontario at least, that says, I don't think so, but if you reach out to the appeals team on the Magic Line, they may be able to help you in ways that I cannot, because we want to publish everything that we possibly can that's
Yeah.
guideline compliant. And HQ have the power to tweak guidelines. And we've seen it. We see the guidelines updated all the time.
Mhm.
So
Here's another one from A&K. If a puzzle is, say, difficulty 3, and the hide is also a difficulty 3, should the cache be rated a difficulty 3 or higher?
puzzle is a difficulty 3.
And the hide is just as equally difficult.
Should the puzzle difficulty be rated for the puzzle or the hide?
Right.
Or both?
So if it's a 2 difficulty hide, but a 4 difficulty puzzle.
One train of thought there says, what's the most difficult thing about finding this cache, and shouldn't that be the rating?
Mm-hmm.
I would go with that as well, just because in order to sign the log, you've got to do it all, which means you've got to endure the highest difficulty.
Yeah, because if you're playing
Yeah.
a video game and you're collecting difficulty points, and the more difficulty points you get, the more you can achieve whatever puzzle this is. You find the puzzle and you press the button, you've got 4 difficulty points. Well, it's not
Yep.
going to help you if you can only solve a 3 when you can't get to a 4.
Yeah.
There's probably exceptions to that rule. It's similar to the whole, what size do I use, right? So if someone has a cache that is a statue, and in this that they've made, and in there is a tiny log or a tiny container, well, do you put it for the small container because it won't hold the geocoin? And I like the idea of what's the thing I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, the argument for that was that some people use it the size to determine if they can put things in it or if they can find things in it, like swag and stuff. So yeah, you almost have to just trust that whatever the CO, how they rate things.
Yep.
But
I prefer it as a thing you look for, because to me the finding it is more important than the swag thing.
Yes.
And it's a similar question to challenge caches. Should the challenge difficulty be rated for the task or the cache? Same with the terrain. Should it be a 5 terrain if the final cache is a lamppost, even though the challenge requires 5 terrains?
Yeah. See, at least they put in the guidelines, so the terrain should be the cache itself.
Yeah.
So they kind of save that one for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, and go difficulty again. If you put a cache out today that is 365 days, right? Well, for a lot of us, that's a 1. Been there, done that. But for other folks, that's a difficulty 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. CSI says, asks, as a reviewer, what is the most underserved DT rating? You got any stats on that?
I do, but not on this computer.
For Ontario or worldwide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and say that things in the 3s. 3s are, even 3.5s are probably, mine's thinking 3.5s are the least I've seen. Because there's something tough about a 4 and above, and there's something easy about a 2 and below. And 3 is like, I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, like
I've always kind of wondered, Get in the mind of somebody who's placing a cache. What makes you decide between a 3 or a 3.5? Or like that
Yeah.
half rating. Like, what's the
Yep.
why did you choose this and
Thanks
not
to
that?
challenge caches, that's very easy. You just have to see what the
Yep.
least popular one in the region is, right? So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a 5.5 is almost a dime a dozen, but a 4.5,
right.
right?
Yep.
It's not like 5.5s are falling off the trees, but still.
You know, and I think it comes back to another thought I was just thinking. It's like if you've already accomplished something, you've already endured the difficulty. Or if you already have the tool, then it's not going to be hard. So in a way, the 5.5s are a dime a dozen and usually easier than 4.5 because most people already have the equipment.
Yeah.
So they've already done the task to be able to do the 5. So it becomes much easier. Whereas 4.5 terrain, you have a lot more active work to do usually to get to the cache.
And I think that if someone were to say, like, emotionally, a 3, 3.5, or 3.5, 3 is probably the ones that I, right now, not looking at any data in front of me, that's what I'm kind of feeling it might be. But it's also cache types. So if you want to turn around and look at rare things, go and look at the number of holes in letterboxes. Letterbox hybrids in Ontario with a specific rating. There's a couple where there's only
I-
1 or 2.
I think we're slowly getting those filled up. And I think we know who's filling them up.
Yeah. But yes, and Wet Cozy here is right. Chest height, knee height. The only one I think is universal for locations is ankle height.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how tall you are, your ankles are normally pretty much in the same place.
Yeah,
height.
so
Jeez.
let me see. Yeah, we had a lot of comments on the knee high and different height size limits. So here's one on distance. Do you think there will be a distance limit placed on multis in the future? Because you had alluded to that previously.
Unlikely. Very unlikely.
Yeah.
Retraining folks on something that's been around forever.
But wait, it was allowed before.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Yeah.
Is there a distance restriction on where it goes?
Yes. Yeah. So actually, there's a page list in the guidelines. So there are different things with where I goes that apply. And I will pull it up in a second. Where I goes, there are. Oh, my camera's just done strange things. There are where I goes, depending on how you use them, also makes a difference. So I'm gonna actually pull up the page because we recently reworded it, and it has here. There you go. So when you build them, it's people using them for geo art, for example, need to be just like a puzzle, need to be within that range. Actually, here's a question though: what if you put a what if you put a rubber stamp inside of where I go? That's the one that people actually get more concerned over than the distances.
Does that automatically make it a letterbox? A letterbox where I go?
Let her go.
Let her go.
Let her go. If it has a cartridge, it's where I go. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, I would say that
There you go.
that takes priority. You can do a letterbox whether it has a stamp or not. You can't do a where I go if you can't run a cartridge.
How do we
where
find?
I goes? Or where I goes also for play anywhere cartridges. That needs to be 3.2, just like a puzzle.
Yeah. How do we find the statistics on how many caches there are on each rating of each rating?
I use GSAC because I have all of Ontario in my database. So I'm not sure if you can massage Project GC for that. It's certainly not on the geocaching site specifically, unless you can do it if you go into the filter and you choose each cache type and you individually choose each rating. It's not exactly easy.
Yeah. With the Project GC, I don't think it's the map matrix. Maybe it's the map matrix. I can't remember. There is a tool. Recently, we talked about it on Challenge Talk where you can, you can set a loop number. So I think, in theory, if you were to set loop number 1 and then choose a specific cache type, it would and a region or whatever, then it would show you the DT matrix of all of how many available caches there are to qualify for that first loop, which is effectively how many of each DT of that filter are available.
Yeah. So I hear popcorn. So if I, for
Yeah.
example,
It's
go if
popcorn
I
time.
go in and I do a filter for letterboxes that are D4 T4, it tells me there are 11. So that's the dirty, boring way is to just go in and you can take the URL and manually change it for each DT rating. You know, copy paste, and work out those stats. But
Let
as
me
far
take
as a
a look.
report, I use GSEC.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Any
it is
consideration for additional difficulty ratings for puzzles?
That would always be an HQ question. I very much doubt they're going to change from difficulty 5. Like at some point, bearing in mind that it's all subjective, 5 means in theory the ultimate in difficulty. So this is the ultimate. So having the ultimate and even more harder still
Yeah.
probably doesn't make sense. If you go caching in Europe, Germany specifically, DT ratings there, like what they consider a 2, we might consider a 5, right? So it's again
Oh.
subjective. So having an extra one on top, I guess it's kind of like printing money.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily make the stuff that you've got any more valuable.
So this is an Ontario-based question, I would say, more so, just because we've had our things lifted as of March 1st. Have you had lots of people apply for event caches in the last few weeks in Ontario?
Not as many as I expected. I think folks
Hmm.
were still being somewhat wait and see-ish around how things go.
Yep.
So at the moment in Ontario today, there are, I don't know, well, I guess a couple of dozen, maybe 20 or so caches. That probably includes the mega event though, out there. And it's not the most social time of year, February. It's not exactly
Yep.
balmy and fun out there, wet and
Mhm.
cold. So that we'll probably see in the spring. And I think with the Ceto souvenirs coming up, we'll probably see an influx of things there.
Just had a wonderful event with Cache the Line out in the parking lot in the cold.
See?
It wasn't raining when we got there, so life was good.
So I don't know if I can share my screen. I can't seem to share my screen, but there is a way
hold
for
on.
that.
Yes, you can. I just have to give
DTs
permission.
need to turn it on.
Yeah, you can do it, and then I say okay. While you're looking for that, do where I go, reverse where I goes count as where I goes on your stats?
They're just where I goes. Where I goes are reverse where I goes, sorry, are really just traditionals where someone wants to make it a different icon, so they put a little cartridge on it.
Yeah.
Reverse where I go is a quick and dirty way of having a where I go. It's canned. You type in your numbers, it spits out what you need, you list it.
So I can't remember her original question, but my where I go question was specific to one hide. That's at least 6-hour drive from posted.
Yeah, because if it's not a reverse where I go.
Oh, distance where? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the original question right there.
Yeah.
Is there a distance? Yeah. Okay. And I think Jeff is ready for. Here we go. Okay, we're going to add to the stream. There we go.
Yeah. So under Tools with Map DT Matrix, here you can you have to put in your profile name, but you can choose a region, and then you can add in the filter for DT type / size, and then there you should be able to choose whatever cache type you'd like.
Yep.
Let's say unknown cache. Add the loop filter as well. So loop 1, hit filter, and then this should result in all of the unknown caches in Ontario, regardless of profile name. That has to be there. So it looks like these are all of the unknowns that are actively findable in Ontario. So there's 2,300, but this shows you how many of each DT there are. So if we were to switch that, let's say everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's say you're looking for anything to fill up your DT grids. You could get up to 40, I guess.
So you could do that. You could do that for Canada. Show me this cache type, all the types, and it'll give me the grid for Canada for all of it.
And I'm not sure if that might not include found. This might be all of my unfound.
Oh, okay.
Well, the other option is just to put in a profile name of somebody that hasn't found any caches. And then that would result.
Yeah,
but that will show the total.
Yeah, those are your stats.
Yeah, these are all the findables. So these aren't the ones that I've found.
Right. Okay.
Wait. No, wait.
You kind of found with that. Well, you have found a lot.
Suggestions. No, right. No, I think.
'Cause isn't that part of the filter that you
Wait,
can do?
it can't be just mine. This has to be everything because I don't have 17,000 traditionals.
Yeah.
I think this is everything, and then it maps the ones for the next one. So because for my next one, I don't know. There's different colors. Suggestions are found for those two,
Yeah.
but I definitely don't have 17,000 traditionals. So it's got to be more than that. Oh no, that's everything. Never mind. You know what? That might just be mine. It's confusing.
But Project GC can find you a lot of cool stats,
You can
not just for you. Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay. I never thought there was a DT exchange rate. And yeah, we just made popcorn. I'm not getting any.
Jeez.
Darn it all. Have to make my own.
It's becoming a theme.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question already on a banner. Is it possible? I did that. A post office box is a great place to hide a magnetic cache container. Yes or no? Yes or no? I see a post office box. It's right there. There isn't a geocache within 160 meters or 585 feet. And I want to put a magnetic key cache container there. Is that good? Can I do that? No. What do you mean no? Unless permitted by the postmaster. Correct. Okay. That's in the wiki post. No, you can't put one on. Although I have seen them on.
And you might even find that to be a regional difference. Canadian law, federal, across the country. I know in Ontario we kick it back. I believe in BC they kick it back.
Yep.
But I'm not sure if that's across the board.
And it could be if you find it in a region that says that it's not allowed, that maybe they just didn't explain it to the reviewer what it's on.
Could be. I think also a lot of the times you'll end up with those additional items in the wikis because there was an issue.
Yes.
Somebody somewhere, something happened, someone sent a letter, someone went, thou shalt not.
Okay. Now, this leads to a question I just thought of. As a reviewer, have you gone to utilize Street View on Google?
Constantly.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So that gives you a better idea of what you're looking at.
Well, it gives me a better idea than not looking at all.
Right.
At the same time, what it will do is it sometimes helps with seeing incorrect coordinates. And there are many times where folks will use their iPhone compass thinking that the coordinates that it gives are good for geocaching, and they are not. They are not accurate. They're in the wrong format. And so we'll look at it, and there's actually a certain little bit of a pattern in iPhone coordinates that have been placed with the compass app, and you can sometimes tell just by looking at the numbers that have been used. And so when you look at Street View and you say, yeah, that's not a forest. That's or that doesn't look like it's an alleyway, or that looks more like it's in someone's hot tub, not on their fence line.
This brings up the question, and it was in the same wiki that I was reading. What about a community mailbox? And no, that is not allowed.
No. So in Ontario, yes, Canada Post properties are off limits, whether it's the green ones, the super mailboxes, the regular mailboxes, not going to happen. I believe that may be similar in British Columbia, other parts of Canada. You check with the wikis and for those reviewers, but typically federal property, one doesn't want there to be an issue. So
we're still going good with questions here. If a cache is on private property, such as on the grounds of a gated seasonal resort, is it required to mention this in the description?
It would obviously be advantageous to mention it because you don't necessarily want people to be chased down the driveway of a closed location. At the same time, you may also have questions from your reviewer regarding permission and accessibility. If you, as an example, are bringing someone with a cache inadvertently that could be considered to be a commercial cache,
Yeah.
that's one thing. And if you can only get to it a certain amount of time per year, the reviewer might say, well, hold on a second, you can only get this cache 3 Sundays in the year, and it's on private property. Something seems a little off here. So you might get those questions.
Do you look at Street View for every cache you review?
I have Street View open on my machine
Mhm.
most of the time, and it becomes one of those, I like to get an extra look at things.
Yeah.
So, if you're cache in the middle of a dense forest, Street View is not going to do me any good.
Right.
But
Correct.
there are
Yeah.
times when it looks like a dense forest, and then someone says
Mm.
to me, "That LPC wasn't very cool." I'm thinking it was trees.
Yep.
Well, not anymore.
Are fake sprinkler hides still allowed? Does a reviewer have discretion on them? I've heard they're a no-no because they are considered buried.
In Ontario, we do consider those buried. They quote unquote break ground.
Mhm.
There are exceptions to that rule if it's on your own property or confirmed written permission. I've found them personally to be bad ideas because I've gone to find a cache. It's been a fake sprinkler, and I've seen the other non-fake sprinklers disassembled and lying on the ground beside them.
Yeah.
So that's not a great way to make friends with a property manager, particularly not the landscaping organizer. Uh, there are times where we've suggested, you know what, there's other ways to do it. I've actually seen someone take a fake sprinkler, put it inside a small container that was full of earth, cover the
Yep.
outside in moss, and they propped it under a bush.
Hmm.
And it still looked like it was supposed to be there,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but it didn't go into the ground. Did not make a
Jet
hole.
Wet Coaster says GC7H T4Z is in
Post
a
office.
post office in Toronto
Yes,
with
see,
permission.
sometimes people get permission for things.
There you go. Awesome. We will assume that they did. Have you met reviewers from other provinces? Is there an annual Christmas party?
I wish there was an annual Christmas party. Sadly, it'd be kind of a hard sell because you'd all be funding it yourself to go and hang out with a bunch of people at great cost. And
Yep.
again, as a volunteer gig, you don't always have time off away from things in life as it is. So to do that and then turn around to your family and go, "Hey, everybody, let's go and see the other person who spends a lot of their time glued to their screen." So it's not feasible in some regards, but we do now and again get to see each other. So we have had gatherings in the past, obviously things like HQ's block party and those events where we might all congregate because we're going there for something, but we'll make trips to see each other. I'll drive down to Ottawa and see my friends there.
Mhm.
We're very fortunate that we do have a tight-knit communication strategy between different reviewers in different regions.
Yep.
We've had Teams calls and Zoom calls with each other even throughout the pandemic, socially more than anything else. And yeah, I would love an annual get together, but there is 420, I think, plus reviewers or volunteers at least across the world.
Mhm.
There's only so many can see each other, and
Yeah.
no one's going to be paying for those hotel rooms and those flights other than
You
the volunteers
you
themselves.
go to BC a lot for business. Do you meet up with the BC reviewer, or is that person on the mainland?
They're on the mainland.
Mainland, and I hear they are anonymous.
There are reviewers who are not known in BC. There is one that is. They are on the
Oh,
mainland.
they have more than one.
Here BC has a few reviewers. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Yep. You can tell who the reviewers are in a region in the wiki. So if you go to the regional policies wiki at the top, you see the regions. If you click the
Yep.
region, it'll say who the reviewers are in that region.
Mhm.
I've actually meet reviewers from BC more at events in the States because we'll all go down to there.
Yep.
But I'll see them at J Woodstock.
Yes.
I'll see a lot of them at J Woodstock.
I'm sure we will too. We have a cache located at a resort property with no note in the description. This resort is closed for the year. Reach out to the CO, or does it need reviewer attention?
Well, a person needs maintenance or send a note to the CO, and if that doesn't seem to help the situation, then yeah, by all means, you can reach out to a reviewer. I
Okay,
always
we're
find
nearing.
it's best to go to the person who's responsible for the cache first, because they may not know and they'll greatly appreciate it. So
Yes.
work within your community. But if you have something that's urgent, or if you don't think you're getting any traction, you can always
Mhm.
reach out.
Okay, I'm not saying the show is coming to an end, but we've been on for an hour and 20. I'm just going to throw this in here because we're at the end of our show. We're going to be giving away 2 trackables from Geo Woodstock 18. One of them is one of these really cool coins, and the other one is a tag, just like this one here. And these are collectible because they say 2020. So there you go. Those are from our friends at Geo Woodstock 18. So I'm just going to throw this up, and we'll be right back. Have you registered yet? And that is on my list to do, is to check. I can't remember if we registered. And registering is different than loading or placing your will attend. A will attend just means that you're going to be going to the event, and registering means that you wish to have some swag, coins and t-shirts and the like. So there you go. We had a lovely dinner with our friends from the Geo Woodstock Committee. Jay Kennedy and the folks at Land Sharks are on that committee, and we got a little, not tidbits of information, but basically that was the big thing, is to make sure if you are registered or not, and how to check. And please check the geowoodstock.com website to find out how to do that. There you go. And I assume CacheShadow is going to be there?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There you go. And of course, we know Cache the Line is going. That's awesome. All right, cool. Let's see if we have some more questions. Oh. I find a lot of coordinates off anymore because I think the newbies are using phones to place hides.
That's a big point of contention. There's always going to be a one side and the other about phones and dedicated GPS devices.
What I've done I'll jump in here. When I have done with my phone, like, so show me my coordinates. I use a GPS app, either the actual app or CGO. Show me where I am. So it gives me my coordinates. I just take a screenshot of that. Then I go to Google Maps and put those coordinates in and use the satellite view. And usually I do this when there is a notable landmark, like a tree or the corner of a building, and I adjust the coordinates according to what I see on the satellite image. That's how I've done it. Of course, I haven't hit the cache in like 2 years.
Entirely.
The satellite tiles. Yeah, they're not always 100% accurate. Out in rural, it might be worse than urban, but for the most part. See, what I find is that if I'm having trouble finding a cache with using the coordinates and the GPS or whatever, I'll take a look at the satellite map and see that the pin is suspiciously spot on the corner of a building or spot on the center of a tree. I'm like, okay, this person used satellite to adjust the pin coordinates. And then that usually happens.
I did that today. It was like, well, it's around the second and third tree in line.
Yeah, you see, and on this end, first of all, if you use Google Earth, Google Maps to place your cache, you have a non-compliant cache. Thou shalt not use Google ever. It's a GPS game, not a satellite map game.
I think the way people look at it is GPS first, satellite for adjustment. But
that's a use. So the challenge is I have seen so many times when even Google Maps has been 15, 20 meters off.
Oh yeah. For
and
sure. You got to be able to understand that.
Yeah. The best approach, if you're using a device, even if it's a GPS device, get your coordinates, but don't arrive there and open up your app and say, what are my coordinates right here? Go to your coordinate taking page and travel to your location. Maybe you're walking 50 meters or so.
Yeah.
When you get there, not only is your device got the signal from the satellite to say where it is, but it's had the signal getting there. So maybe it's got a better idea of direction. Maybe it's sitting there, is got a better lock on a satellite. There's one approach is to do that. Take it, go away, and come back again and see if they match.
Nice.
I've got a couple points for that.
Yes.
So one, I have noticed this firsthand. Sometimes if I'm hiking and I'm watching and I'm coming up to a cache, when I stop hiking, the location is either lagging a bit or it goes too far. So motion isn't necessarily always the best way, because you have to understand basically what's happening with the pin and averaging and stuff. You need to basically let it settle. If you're moving, let it figure out that it's stopped, and then make the adjustments for averaging. Secondly, what I've learned from, at least for iPhone, for iOS, to my best understanding, all the GPS functionality happens on the OS level, not the app level. So apps will ask the operating system for what it believes are the current GPS coordinates. So things like doing that, taking multiple GPS locations and averaging them, that happens at the OS level. So the more that you sit there, the more that the operating system is doing that in the background. And so if the app is polling or basically requesting from the operating system what the current coordinates are, it's already getting averaged coordinates. It's technical best guess. So you could do that if you want to, but it's not really going to help all that much more, at least on iPhone, on the way that iOS does it.
But you're averaging as you're doing the reading. Challenge being is if you have something that's affecting that signal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you come back and do it again, if they don't match, well, they're not close. You know, one of them was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
so
I would say that's
universal.
Yeah, that's a factor that goes outside the scope of it's a smartphone thing. That's just, how any GPS device would have to deal with environmental factors.
You'd hope people would do that, as opposed to wondering where the third tree is at the end of the building. But
we're having a great discussion, so we're just going to keep rolling on. But I'm going to throw out the first question for the Geo Woodstock tag. Okay, so this will get you the tag. If you can get this question correct. And I'm going to give this is the easier of the two. So in order to win the coin, you have to answer the more difficult one, which when Jay gave it to me, I didn't know what it was. Okay, here you go. Here's the first question. And the first answer, and if you guys know it, don't shout it out, and you can help me figure out who had it first. So the first question is, what event occurs the night of Geo Woodstock, August 13th, 2022? So there we go. What event occurs the night of Geo Woodstock, August 13th, 2022? And that is for one of their awesome geocaching Woodstock 18 tags.
There we go.
I think that's the answer right there. Who is it? Jester
Fox.
Jester Fox. There we go. Midnight Madness. Awesome. Jester Fox and Andy Plant and not Sunset. It does have. Well, no, it's way past Sunset. Carol got it. Midnight Madness. Awesome. Great. Jester Fox, if you send an email to londonwesty@gmail.com and give me your name and address, I will ship that off to you. Congratulations. Awesome. So let us continue on with more questions. And I have one that we haven't asked yet. Okay. On a cache page listing, it would be okay for London Westy or Lear Class to include a link, to Cache Canada. True or false? So let me edit that.
Yeah, and then Jeff can answer this one.
Yeah, there we go. Or Cache the Line can say, hey, while you're here caching, don't forget to check out Cache the Line. Is that okay or not?
Agenda.
No, Patricia Bell says. Wet Coaster says no. And Carol says false. And Annie M says false. And Peter Becker says true. Thanks, Peter. We love you. And, CSI says yes. And Darren says false. And CacheShadow, the official ruling is
Cache pages should not include content that promotes the acquisition of social media channels, subscribers, or followers, as this would be promoting an agenda or highlighting a course.
There we go.
Linked
So
media on a cache page should be relevant to the specific cache.
the answer is false. We cannot do that. Although, can't say we haven't tried. Now, I did learn recently that Cache Canada can hold events, and it can say Cache Canada in the event page, and can mention the fact that we are YouTubers as long as we don't say go to Cache Canada
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Makes sense to me.
Right.
And there is the question of like geocaching groups, like organizations, like say Central Ontario geocachers or something, like a group of geocachers, and often there will be badges. I've seen those badges that say this is owned by a member of this geocaching group, and I think again that's kind of informational rather than directive.
Yeah,
Yes.
they have
That's in the
HQ
wiki.
allow
That's
that.
in the
I
wiki.
think a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can reference a group Facebook page. Yeah, in your listing.
Now, then again, if you were to say for more information on my hides, view my profile page. I'm quite sure your profile page has got some good links on it.
What do you think, Jeff? Does your profile page have a link to Cache the Line?
Little bit.
let me check London Westie. Right there at the top. That's allowed.
Well, that's the thing. The profile is like personal, right? So whether it's your personal social media or whatever it is, you make it whatever you want.
There you go. What is this? Yes, we've been able to post ours to. Oh, yes, yeah, and that is okay. Yeah, right. I think we just covered that.
Or event announcements as well. If you're organizing an event, then you can put stuff into those announcements after the listing is published and stuff.
Yeah. Yes, you can, in an event listing, you can promote geocaches that will be published from the event as part of the event. I think that's what it said.
Can you?
Can you? I don't know. Okay, there you go. Can you? I think my answer is yes.
It's organized cache hunts are.
No, not a cache hunt.
But
organized cache hunts are not that different from an event with a list of caches, for example.
Oh, okay.
So there's definitely a different approach to saying there will be caches available nearby.
Yeah.
Versus GC ABC 1234, 1235, 1236, 1337 will be around because that's effectively just saying, hey, come to my event and then go away and find those things, which is an organized cache hunt.
Yes, you can't list caches. The caches cannot say don't find until such and such a time. No. And I encountered this once at a mega. Please don't log your first to finds until after such and such a time on a day. Well, no, I found it. It's available, and so I'm the first to find. You know.
And there's some. I know Ottawa's had some events like puzzle events where they place a bunch of caches for the event and then request that people not find them until a certain time on a certain day.
Yeah.
They used to.
I don't know if that still happens.
Used to have that, and there were things such as one should be tarred and feathered if they were to log them. But the rule is cache published, cache available to find. If you want to say this cache was placed with the intention of being found, you can do that. But you can't penalize somebody that finds it ahead of that intended date. If you don't want them to find it, don't have it published.
Don't publish it.
Yeah.
But obviously with puzzle events, people want to have time to go and solve those puzzles. So my suggestion to folks is if it's not a puzzle, then just say when you want it to be published. And if it is a puzzle, once it's published, it's out there. If you want to say there's an intention of it being found as part of an event, but there's a fine line there as well, because their HQ have added guidance regarding caches and events being promoted. So caches shouldn't promote events, which is...
I had to deal with that when I was publishing the GIF series. because I had one line that was mentioning the GIF event that I was hosting. And there's like, nope, you got to take that out.
Yeah. The HQ
The
have a
series
line
was
in
published,
guidelines that says only event caches can promote other geocaching events. Cache types
Mhm.
other than event caches are not allowed to promote other geocaching events, and that was added a little while back.
Okay, we're going to be giving away some additional prizes, I hear, because some lovely reviewer has offered to give 3 caches. Now I just have to get it to load, and it's not allowing me to. I think it's not going right. Jeff, take it away. Give me some airtime here. While I'm trying to figure this thing out.
We can just come up with more questions for people.
Yeah,
I-
just ask some more questions. There you go.
Okay.
I had other thoughts that I was going to mention, but they've gone now.
Yeah.
I am
All right.
thoughtless.
So here's a question. So this will be the first person to answer this question. We'll get one of these CacheShadow tags. So Geo Woodstock 18 is in British Columbia, and it's in Abbotsford. What is the 3-letter airport code for Abbotsford?
Ooh.
It might be tricky like Toronto.
Yeah. I think it starts with a Y.
Very good.
Does every airport in Canada start with a Y?
I was gonna say, I wonder there's got to be a reasoning for the codes in Canada, or at least some of them.
Yes, there we go. Okay, we're good now. No, we're not. Doesn't like this.
Well, there we have an answer.
We have an answer. We have a winner.
We have an answer. We have a winner. Okay, so KC11 gets that.
What was it? Y something. A YXX.
XX.
Huh.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. KC11, send an email to londonwesty@gmail.com. Or you got an email, something they can send you, Roy?
Certainly.
And we'll
you
get
do
the
that to CacheShadow's profile page, one of the two. Just
okay.
go to CacheShadow
Yeah, send
and the profile page.
So send us some information on how we can get that prize to you. Yeah, the Wheel of Names is not cooperating with me.
No worries.
I think it's too. I have too much information in there. It just doesn't want to go. So what you've come up with is good.
I like that. We can
yeah.
do another question too.
There you go. Okay.
All right. So here the next question is, and what is the date that the community celebration events, quote unquote, expire? And by what date must you host your community celebration events?
That's soon. No? That's the answer. I can't tell you. Wait a minute. Somebody
It was
says
later this year.
A&K had it first. Before, I think that was the...
Well, A&K have got December 31st, 2022. That is correct.
okay.
So there you go. That's correct answer. So you
Okay.
have until December 31st to have your community celebration events out there, folks. So a few folks were panicking and just wanted to just put anything out to get them used. You still have time to plan it.
Yep. So that's not soon. That's
It's- well,
a whole
It
10
depends
months
on you.
away.
Well,
Yeah.
Yes. It's
December 21st, 2023. Holy doodle.
so that works.
Hmm.
So those are 2 easy questions.
2 easy questions. Okay, there you go. So while we're there, we're approaching an hour and 38 minutes. I'm going to ask the next. This is for the, and then we'll do the last one will be a CacheShadow coin. This is for the Geo Woodstock 18 coin, and this thing is heavy, and it is a really nice coin. So we're going to ask this question here. What is the name of the Geo Woodstock 18 unofficial mascot? It has a name. I didn't even know there was a mascot, and I didn't know it had a name.
It is an unofficial mascot.
Why is it
Yes.
unofficial?
I don't know why it's not official. That's really weird. I'll have to ask Jay that question because he gave me the question to ask.
Maybe it's legal reasons.
Maybe.
Maybe it's Signal.
Maybe it's Jeff.
Could be. Jeff. Yeah, there you go. J. Kennedy. There we go. So we get the answer is, and I can put that up on the banner. Oh, wait. Oh, I lost it. There we go.
Oh, it's got a full name, folks.
Little alien, frog, beaver, buzz, A and K. Okay.
Oh, I think Kathy's got the best answer. It's not the right one, but I do like it.
Yeah. Busy beaver. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
Land Monkey's the official mascot of everything.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Can we give a hint?
Well, it is 2 words.
Yes, it is 2 words, and we've seen 1 word already.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. It's not orca. That would have been a good one, though.
Abbott would have been a good one too, actually.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Land monkey? No. Abbott? Would have been a good. That would have been good.
I might have something around here that's got said individual's picture on it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can Google this one. So we'll just leave it out there. No. Okay.
Oh, this was a good question, Jay. I like this one.
Yeah.
I think if you had been someone who had dealt with land sharks and some of their most popular items, you might have encountered this fellow in other arenas.
Is that the guy for what's it called? What's their proprietary tracks?
Wasn't making tracks, no.
Doesn't making tracks. So it's not that character, is it? No.
It's
okay.
well, that's tire marks. It's not very charactery. So
Okay. All right.
Do we have to spoil this one? Do we have to spoil this one?
I don't. I can leave it out there, and I can post it on Cache Canada on Facebook and get the answer from there.
I'm just going to search the geo.
I like Abbotsford. That's cool. Abbotsford.
Oh, well, look at that.
Tony the Land Shark. No. Okay, the name does contain beaver.
Yeah, that shouldn't make the stuff you get email. Oh, there we go, Annie.
Got it.
Of course, if anybody's going to get it.
Yeah, there she goes. She got it. Beaver Dude is the unofficial name of the mascot for Geo Woodstock 18. I had no idea. Oh, and Andy Plant came in right after. Oh, Abbott's Frog. Yeah,
Thank
Beaver
you.
Dude is it. I don't know where they came up with that, but he's a dude.
He's a beaver
Yeah,
dude.
he's a beaver.
Go to geowoodstock.com and you'll see Beaver Dude right there.
There you go. Awesome. Beaver Dude.
Awesome.
So, Annie M., please email londonwesty@gmail.com with your name and address, and we will get that off to you at some point. I just got to go to the post office and get some more puffy little envelopes because these things are heavy and they won't survive a regular envelope. So, there you go. Congratulations. It's Beaver Dude.
Awesome.
And we have one more tag from CacheShadow to give away.
Yeah, so let's have let's do another Geo Woodstock thing because that definitely seems to be a good theme of the day. So the first Geo Woodstock was held in which city? The first Geo Woodstock.
First Geo Woodstock was held in what city?
Because we have the first Canadian Geo Woodstock this year with Geo Woodstock 18, but obviously the first one was in the US. That's a given. Yep. So in which city was the first Geo Woodstock?
And Cache Canada has been there. Not on Geo Woodstock 1. It was not Seattle.
It was not Seattle.
No. It was not Woodstock.
Well, there we go.
I think we got it.
We got it. A&K. I'm sending it to
Louisville, Kentucky. That is correct. And Wayne Charles came in afterwards. Andy as well, Louisville. Oh. So A&K, congratulations. Where do we got that? That's right.
Okay.
I can't find it there. Boom. Louisville. Awesome. There you go.
Great.
There is a brewery near the Louisville Slugger Stadium. And they have fresh donuts that you can get. They are bacon glazed donuts. So they put bacon fat in the glaze and then they sprinkle bacon bits on the donuts. And they are to die for. If you are ever in Louisville, Kentucky, you must check that out. And they will not be any good if you bought them and brought them home to serve to somebody else. It wouldn't be any good at all. They are amazing. Just saying. Just saying.
Yes, you don't share them with people who won't make you popcorn. That's just a rule.
Awesome. That's very cool. We're so glad that you were able to join us and come out and remember
always
that
great.
it's 3 hours later.
That's all good. I'm
But
going to be at the airport tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. So this is
ooh, yuck. So when we posted last week's show, which was with Gio Elmo, I posted that when we were in Victoria, and then Dougie B said, hey, you might want to check out your timing of your show because it said 10 o'clock. I don't know why it said 10, but I must have said 7. And then it switched it in timing. So the timing was completely off because it was based on where I was at the time when I created the event listing. Oh, I am so glad you saw that because I thought everybody's going to be tuning in at 10 p.m. Ontario time. And I would have been gone by then. Why has nobody showed up? Awesome. So thanks, Jeff, for jumping in there and filling the space while we were waiting for our guest to come along. It's awesome.
it's great to see you both.
Yeah, it was awesome to have both of you for a chat. So
Yeah.
we
We should do this again.
We should. It will probably be in late fall because I think this is going to be the last live stream we'll have for a while because we're into a season of regular Cache Canada videos. We have enough videos from our trip to Victoria to entertain you until the middle of April. So there you go.
Well, then we can just go hang out with Jeff then.
Yeah, and I can now just go and geocache for the sake of geocaching and occasionally bring my camera along for something that seems like, oh, that will make a good 1 Minute Wednesday.
Yep. We're getting into a good caching season and things are starting to look up.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yay. Awesome. Yay. Happy clap. So thank you very much, guys. Please stay with me until the green room after the outro plays. And thank you to everyone in our studio audience. Wait a minute. Let me get rid of I gotta get rid of something here.
Thanks, folks. Good to see you all.
Please join us again for Cache Canada Chats. And we will see you again down the road. And don't forget to check out Cache the Line, Cache Canada, and tune into COG for more interesting Get Your Answers from CacheShadow. Thank you so much.